Hello and welcome to Evolving on Purpose, a show I have created in hopes that I can inspire you to take the deep dive into discovering who you are and what you came here to do. Each week, I will have on individuals to share their unique journey to self-discovery and where their purpose is taking them. I will also do solo episodes to share what I am currently learning, practicing, or even just contemplating. So come on, what are you waiting for? Join me in Evolving on Purpose. Okay, so I just wanted to welcome everybody back to the podcast. I have Nicola and Jay, who are my Londoners I met via Kathy's podcast. I am just so excited to introduce you to these two wonderful, wonderful women. So they have a podcast that I want everybody to listen to because their energy together is so insanely wonderful that I just want every single person to get to experience that. So introducing Jay and Nicola. Jay is, start with Nicola. Nicola is a shamanic practitioner, an OBL woman, spiritual podcaster. She's got 15 years exploring the spiritual traditions, taking initiation into Vedic and shamanic practices, which I can't wait to talk about, studying traditions from across the world. She does hold space for different practices and ceremonies of life, weddings, women's practices, journey work, and teaching personal development and growth. And then Jay is and Nicola's our manifester today. So I'm excited we have a manifester. And then Jay is a generator, and she's an OBL woman, sacred artist, spiritual podcaster, and she explores art, which anybody that can, I'll connect you with her Instagram so you can see her beautiful artwork. She painted these orbs around London that are so cool. But yeah, and apparently she makes clothing, and she does all kinds of super creative things. She creates the divine feminine sacred art with the nature of energy and educates on self-healing through understanding Afro, diasporic spiritualities, and entheogen. Now that we talked about a lot of things that I don't even completely understand, I can't wait for you to kind of enlighten us. So welcome to the podcast.
Well, we're both OBL women, and yeah, and that is something that I think I'll speak for both of us there when we say it's really special for us because we've both reconnected with our heritage through doing this. And Obia is like a form of Afro shamanic witchcraft, I guess is the best way of explaining it. It's a spiritual system which has allowed us to make positive changes in our lives and hold space for welcoming in new energies. And it's quite a witchy practice. I think it's probably the plainest way of explaining it. Is there anything you'd add to that, Nikki?
I'd say quite a witchy practice is a good way to explain it, yeah. But definitely Afro shamanic witchcraft is the way that I would explain the Obia. And it's really beautiful the way both of us have kind of come to it. We were both searching for ways to connect with those parts of our ancestry spiritually, and we met on a mentorship a couple of years ago. So that's kind of how our friendship started right there. Is there anything else in the bio that you would like us to explain? Because I feel like there are a few like crazy words.
I think I'm going to jump in with entheogen because we're both
entheogen, yeah, that one.
An entheogen is I guess a medicine plant medicine, I guess, that helps you to connect with God or a God figure. Entheo meaning like God or deity. So we work with plant medicines to interact with spirit. It's not something we do on like a day-to-day practice, but it is and can be a part of our practice.
So can you share any examples for us of plant medicines that you've interacted, or give us some examples of what they are and maybe why you would use them?
Okay, so it was quite a big part of my spiritual practice when I was younger. I would I was working in a traditional North and South American shamanic way, and we would work with ayahuasca, which I'm sure is one that most people have heard of now, peyote, uh, Huachuma or San Pedro. So I've worked with a few, like basically what they call the master teachers. So these are medicines. We define them separately from things like drugs and narcotics. These grow naturally. The way to prepare them is something that has been passed down through generations, and a lot of people, so for example with ayahuasca, it's a vine and a leaf, and these two plants grow in completely different places in the Amazon. Like, they can grow hundreds of miles apart, yet different tribes received the knowledge, and they say that they received it through talking with the plants on how to bring these to the medicine that is a really interesting journey to work with the medicines. Yeah.
I love that. I keep getting kind of like I keep hearing about ayahuasca for sure.
Uh-huh.
A lot of the spiritual people that I listen to have done ayahuasca journeys, and I've really thought about that. And there's a frog one that you burn holes
Oh yeah, combo.
and it no, yes, combo. It's been kind of calling me because of its healing properties, like clearing things out of the body. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm a very anxious person that loves to be in control of my mind. So I'm always just a little bit apprehensive, but I think that the day will come that those will cross my path and it'll light up my sacral and I'll say yes.
For sure. I mean, with it's a funny thing actually, because people, lots of people go, "Oh, I really want to try ayahuasca. I really want to try combo. I want to, But the reality is, I think some people receive a proper call. Like, all of a sudden, it's something that's there in your like peripherals, and there's something in you that is telling you that you
Mhm.
need to go and meet that medicine. So I'd say if you're feeling the combo kind of speaking to you, then yeah, it's maybe being open to that potential and that flow. And it's a really beautiful medicine to work with. I think if we're talking about, I don't want to use the word like easier. If you're going to do an ayahuasca journey, then you may be journeying for several hours. Whereas with combo, it's a different thing, and it's not psychedelic in the way that some of the other medicines are, but you can receive visions from working with it. And for me, I first started working with combo, a very long time ago, probably over a decade ago. And it was because I was diagnosed with something called fibromyalgia.
Mhm.
So I was struggling. I was in bed for months and months and months. I was an athlete and I couldn't train. It was really, really distressing. And I was trying all these different techniques. Western medicine said that there is no cure for this, and you just kind of need to learn to manage it. And I wasn't up for that. So I started to explore different techniques. And combo was one of the medicines that came to me during that time. And it's very, 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 very powerful. It's full of peptides and vitamins, so you kind of like reset your whole system. And I guess today we'll be talking a bit about like the chakra system and all of those kind of things
Mhm.
within the human design. Well, combo activates all of your meridians, so all of those energy points throughout your body. It kind of gives you a whole reset for that. And traditionally would be used to go like hunting, so like to give you energy to go out into the hunt, to make you super focused, super strong. But it can also be used to release bad or negative energies that are attached to you, to heal issues within the body physically, like stomach issues and things like that. So yeah, it's a really good one to start with, I think, Angie.
Yeah, I'm glad that you gave me that kind of confirmation, because I don't know that I'm ready for an ayahuasca, like a long journey whatsoever, but I do definitely attach to the kind of cleansing and resetting of the system. I've had health issues my entire life, and so I think that would be a really good place to start. looking here, so Nicola, you have the 2551, which is human design that connects the G center to the ego. It's not an ego channel. It's an individual channel, but it's the initiator. It's the initiating people into change and initiates you into change. And it's like, bam, go. And so I thought that was interesting that it's the channel of the shaman or the priestess. And so can you tell us a little bit more about like how you got into shamanism and maybe we can kind of connect that channel?
I did love it when you said the channel was called that. I love feeling like a priestess and things. But I got into shamanism. Oh, it's a quite a weird story in a way. When I was really little, like really, really little girl, under 10, I was obsessed with two things: ancient Egypt, and like Native American shamanism. Like I didn't know what it was, but I really felt like that was me, basically. So I kind of, my whole life I was on this journey to find shamanism. I was always looking through it when I was growing up, and then when I became an adult and I started to kind of get involved in the spiritual community, that was kind of yogic Hindu Vedic things was the thing that was there and ready for me to access. And through that I started saying to people like, I really want to try shamanism. Have you heard of shamanism? Like, Red Park, can we like, and the slowly but surely I managed to find like the groups of people. So I started working in the Red Path in probably just over 10 years ago, and I was working closely with a female teacher over here. So the practice that we kind of have is a mix of North and South American shamanism. And that's basically, shamanism is just a practice of connecting really with the land that you're with. So there are many facets of it, many different ways that you can use it for healing. And one of the main ways will be working with the herbs of the land. You can there's divinatory aspects of it, like we've spoken about already, maybe working with some medicines. There is also like a whole world of kind of mental soul exploration, I guess is a good way to put it. So that will be things like journeying, so journey work, learning how to go into trance and to create change through journeying in that way. And honestly, I found shamanism to be one of the most useful things for my life. It's given me like a really good sense of confidence. It makes me feel like really connected to the places that I'm in. And then the links so closely with that because it's a very similar kind of practice. It's all of the earth, of the place that you're at, like learning the spirit of the land, and kind of using those practices to enhance your life, to do your shadow work, to do healing. It's been a long very interesting journey with the shamanism for sure.
I love that so much, and it makes me think about this story. And so it's like, okay, what if people are listening to this and they're like, this seems way out there and way whatever. But even, Jesus, he walked with this energy, this aura, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was this wonderful story about the woman who reached out and touched his cloak. And they're in a very busy part of the city and people are touching him all the time, but she had the intention, she set the intention that she wanted to be healed. And so as soon as she touched him, he felt that and turned and spoke to her about it. And it's like, it's all about intention, really. You found a way to intentionally take the earth and these practices and things like this to really connect and to grow. But somebody that wasn't into any of this could find a way to be intentional in their life using a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or reading a chapter from the Bible or this or that, like there is always a way to connect. And I just think it's so beautiful to see the way and just kind of have this open mind about like, how do other people connect? Does this speak to me? If it does, whoa, let's go look at this. If it doesn't, how could I find this in my life? Like what is a way? And then
100%.
Jay, I want to turn to you. We have, or I guess if you had any response to that, I should let you respond.
Oh no, it's fine.
Completely this idea of intention, when you are setting those intentions to work with the land, and like you said, even drink a cup of tea in a specific way, that's where you find, was where I found magic and transformation in my life.
Yeah, and when somebody hears like witch or magic or something like that, I think
People
we can have
run.
very like
They do.
well, it can be a very strong reaction. I mean, I still do. Like,
Yeah.
I'm even scared about having this on the podcast because people might think I'm crazy, right?
Yeah.
But it's like we've always had, women have always tapped into this intuition and either scared people by it or it's been useful, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is useful.
What
It's
we
part of
really
us.
like doing on our podcast is demystifying this idea that witchcraft is particularly scary. Witchcraft is really just, the term itself has been heavily demonized. When I explain to people what I do on a basic level on a day-to-day as a quote-unquote witch, I will go to the park and I will speak to a tree maybe, or I will pick up a pine cone and bring it back to my altar, which is a space to alter my reality. And we have altars in churches, and if you ever been to a Catholic church, then they'll have like frankincense and an altar, and you'll light candles, and there'll be somewhere one with a robe at the front. It's no different. I have an altar in my home. I burn frankincense. I will make sure that I'm dressed appropriately for the occasion, and I will put a petition into the universe about what transformation I'm looking to bring. So I think a lot of the work that we're doing is really just demystifying this idea of witch. Witch is really just an English name for what would have been, European shamanistic type practices that were here before it was wiped out by the church. And the more we can understand that and realize that, I think the less scared we can be about it. And then less scared still when we start to see, scientific application of these things. When you start to see why we've done things for millennia, and now you have the technology to validate those things, that for me just makes it a whole lot even less scary. It's never been scary for me, but even less scary, especially when you're looking into this idea of like quantum mechanics. I will often call myself an applied metaphysicist, because that's all a witch is. You're applying the metaphysics of the universe into your life in order to bring change in your field. That's all we're doing.
I mean, that makes me think of that metaphysical, that quantum physics experiment that they did, where they would put electrons through like a slot, and when they're watching it, they do what they're supposed to be doing, and when they don't, they kind of.
That is the most basic way of explaining witchcraft. It's the intention to watch. And we have this scientifically modeled, that really the further you go down this rabbit hole, the further you realize, oh, it is actually scientifically validated. We're only just coming around to technology now, under these Eurocentric measures and means of measuring something. This has always been done. It's just now we have a new way of explaining it. We have a new language, a language that sits within the 21st century framework to explain these things. That's literally all it is.
Yes, and it's like, are we taking our hands off of the wheel and just being like, I'm not going to pay attention because I don't want to think about it? Or are we being intentional with our lives, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because Nicola has the 2551, that priestess, and then Jay has the 360, this formatting energy that she talks about transformation. Well, that's literally what that channel is. It's like, I am going to go into my cocoon. I'm going to shut the entire world out. I'm going to be me. And some people think, oh, I have these down days and I have this, and why is my energy gone? It's literally designed to shut you down. Stop leaving your house, stop going anywhere. Now you have the energy to go within, to transform yourself. And when you walk out into the world, you transform everybody around you with this format channel.
Yeah.
Like, they get to be formatted by you. They get this new energy that you bring just by you being intentional and doing these things.
It's so funny you say that. My husband's gone away for the weekend, and I think he said something like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing you next weekend because being around the person who you are when you're not at work," or something like that. Because I'm literally able to go in, cocoon, get my energy back, and I'm able to light up a room again. And the transformation process, the obeah, the witchcraft, what it all is the animism, learning how to work with the land. That's all what I use as a part of my cocoon to help me replenish myself and others around me.
And I see it in human design as it's just the mechanics of you. Not everybody is here to transform people. Some people are here to be transformed. Some people are here to do this, do this, do this. And so you both have this transformation and you found a way to be intentional about it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your human designs. I never want to make this podcast only about human design, but I think that your designs are so necessary and needed in the world that I really want people that kind of have these same designs to like really show up and see them in the way that they the aligned self of it. So Nikki, can you tell me a little bit about you're a manifester, like what it felt to know that you're a manifester and like how maybe it showed up in childhood or it showed up in life in a way that was maybe a little bit hard, or why I would assume that you would feel a little bit different because manifestors are only 8% of the population.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this yesterday even. Always, forever felt like I'm on the outside. And that isn't necessarily like a bad feeling, but it's just like, I also kind of know that it's going to be difficult for me to meet people who are like me, if that makes sense. I don't know if I've ever really thought of it like that before, but I have always felt just different. I look at things a little bit differently. I do things a little bit differently. You know, when I was younger, I feel like I would love to send you just like a video of me as a like 3-year-old, because there's a couple of videos I can remember seeing that are just literally that's a manifester, like 100%. Like and I was like when I was younger, I feel like I actually was very representative of the things that you've shown me in my chart being a manifester. When I found out that was the name, I was very excited. I was like, "Ooh, what a cool name, manifester, da, 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 da. That sounds exciting." But then I had a moment where I was like, but how well have I actually manifested for my life? Because I've struggled, I feel like, over my lifetime to actually be in that place where I feel like I'm creating, producing, like living my best life basically. But then again, going into the chart in more depth and understanding like this emotional wave thing, like we've spoken about it a few times, because it for me is possibly the most important part of that. I think other than the informing section of being a manifestor, like this I'm not sure if the emotional wave thing is specifically for manifestor, or is that's just one of my lines.
No, not every manifestor is an emotional manifestor. Okay. And actually it would be a little bit easier to be a manifestor that didn't have that emotional wave, because a manifestor really wants to have an idea and go and initiate right away. And so if you're an ego manifestor, if you're, like you can just, it's like, this is who I am, I'm going to go out and do it. But you got slowed down.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're a manifestor, you can go do it, but you still have this wave that you have to listen to. You have to follow your authority, which is this emotional clarity, right? And that takes time. And so it slowed you down. And it's kind of frustrating because you're supposed to be this boom and everything else in your chart is boom. But you have this emotional wave and it's here to give you more information and more guidance and slow you down and get you more intentional. but it's frustrating, right?
Yeah, man, it is so frustrating. But also, like, I'm just starting to understand how important, because there is this place of like impulse in me, like massive impulse, and you're right, frustration if I can't do the thing. But then I can super like really overwhelm myself in those places. So I feel like this understanding about that wave, and maybe even understanding that that is like a little bit of different aspect that I'm having being a manifestor as well, like kind of gives me a bit of space to begin to feel better about that and actually utilize that time. I also find like the informing is that's the strategy, right? So informing this I find super interesting about being finding out I'm a manifestor, because that's something that I do. I really don't like to be told what to do ever, really. I struggle with that. And I really do like to kind of, sometimes I'll just be like, okay, I'm gonna get this done, this is how it needs to be done, and that's that. Everybody listen to me, because if you listen to me, then it will work out fine. I actually just married, I did the wedding for one of my closest friends. I was her celebrant, and actually when you watch the wedding video back, you can see also those aspects of like direction coming out in me, where I'm like, nope, this bit isn't happening yet in the ceremony, we need to do this, okay, stop, everyone, you stand there, everyone come together like this. And that is a place that I feel like I've always judged myself for it, because I feel like that can be quite intimidating to people. It can also maybe represent me in a way that I don't feel. I'm not really like a bossy or mean person like that, but sometimes, I'm like, we can do this, like, let's just get it done. So it's been really interesting to kind of to accept that place in myself more as well. I feel like learning about this it's all for me kind of about kind of going, okay, this is who I am, and now I'm allowed to be that, and I can step into those places with confidence and let go of the self-judgment, hopefully.
Yes, we need conscious manifestors that will come in and they will spark the rest of us to be doing what we're supposed to be doing. And if you're not doing your part, we can't do our part. Everybody has a part. We're all in this puzzle piece, and we're calling you into our space because we need you, right? Like, you're being as long as you're entering into it correctly, you're being initiated into initiating, and as long as you're entering into it correctly, then you're going to be the correct piece that we need. And then Jay, this generator that needs something to respond to, she's got ideas and she wants things to happen, but she's learning to lean into this magnetism that she has, and she needs an initiator, right? She needs that. And that's why you guys work so perfectly together. And then when we look at Jay, it's like Jay finding out this generator that has this format that makes you basically turtle inside and then come out and like this, and you're this leader. You've got the alpha, you've got the 31-7, which I call the Bill and Hillary, because Hillary Clinton has the 31-7, and she was always making sure she was the leader. And then and Bill had the 31. He was speaking about leading, and he was the president telling us what, and you have that, but they're both disconnected, right? Like, this pulse is not connected to this leadership, and people are always calling on you to lead, but are you making sure that it's from a sacrally lit up place, right? Is this a yes for me? People are always going to ask you to lead them, right?
Yeah,
like,
of course. Yeah.
They can just feel it from you. You're like, why am I always in charge?
Yeah, that's a big question I find myself asking a lot. As a child growing up, it was great. I got to, be the head of projects and groups, and as I've gotten older, it's just like, why am I being asked to lead this thing? Why me? So I think I'm having to do some work at the moment about like balancing with probably the mindset I had when I was younger and the mindset I have now, because I do want to be making sure I'm stepping into more of myself without the sense of overwhelm, because the overwhelm can sometimes be crippling.
And I think it's just about you've been showing up to this like real life job, right? And you've been pushing for so long and trying to be, you know, the spiritual woman, and trying to be the artist, and trying to be the, show up to the 9 to 5 job
It's
and
a lot of
do that. And
hats.
it's
I want
yeah.
you
So I'm really excited. I'm really excited. You're quitting your job. You're going to step into this. Like, I can't wait.
Oh, thank you. I'm really, really excited, because this does feel like it's a decision that's coming from my sacral. It is that, yes, that sort of yes decision, where it is coming from deep down. And I noticed that when I make decisions around that sort of gut feeling of, yeah, I definitely want to do this, I feel great. I feel really good. I'm having to work at the moment on getting into this state where if someone asks me to do something, I just take a moment to see how I feel. Because there have been, especially this year, where I've said sort of yes to things. It's like, oh, did you think about that enough? Did you give your, not think about it so much, did you give your body the time to go, yeah, that's a definite yes? Or did you just hear it and think yes, and then you didn't give your body time to respond?
Yeah. And that, oh my gosh, I just see you two now, knowing your design. Like, Nikki's gonna know, like, yeah, I have to initiate this. I have to initiate this. Like, I know that it's right. But then she can still look to Jay and see if the timing's right.
Yeah.
Right? Is the timing right? Do I have the sacral behind us?
Yeah.
And if the sacral says no, that doesn't mean like this is a no forever.
It just
Now
means
Nikki
no
knows, like,
right now.
oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm a little ahead, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe
We're not there in the timeline as yet.
Have you? Should you have been telling me no at some points that you haven't been? Do you think, Jay?
I've been telling you no in places, and you've been responsive. You're probably the only person in my life where I feel able to go, like, actually.
Oh, I love
A
it.
lot of other people in my life, it feels like quite a battle to say no. If I say no, or this is my boundary, then a lot of the time it feels like it can be trampled on. I actually don't feel that with you. You're very responsive to that, so it's great.
Aw.
I love that. Everybody needs to listen to your podcast, because you can hear the chemistry in and like when I put your charts together, they completely, there's so many electromagnetic channels, and electromagnetics, like one person has one piece and the other person has the other piece. And when you get those two together, now you have flow, right?
Yeah.
Now you can access that. And it's not always that way. Are there electromagnetic channels that maybe somebody's not in alignment and somebody is, or maybe you're both not in alignment and you clash over it?
Yeah.
You can clash over electromagnetic channels too. But the way that you both have done the work and shown up, it's like it really enhances the experience, just being
I
in
found it to be nothing but
being.
enhancing. And I think it's crazy, because Nicola's one of my newer friends within this earthly realm. I feel like I've known her forever.
I know.
Like, spiritually, but she's one of my newer friends in this reality. But it's just like a house on fire when you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think neither of us have had, I mean, I haven't anyway, I don't think you have, Jay, have you? An experience like this before with a friendship, actually, where it's just kind of slotted.
Gosh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been ease and honesty and frankness. It's great.
Sorry, Angie,
I love it. My best friend is a reflector, and
I was just going to say, this just turns into our love affair.
No, I love it.
Conversation about our love for each other.
No. I just think everybody needs that, right? And that's what, like, my best friend is a reflector, and we have so many electromagnetic channels. And when we get together, it feels really, really good. It feels like I have access to all of this, and I understand her and she understands me, and we reflect things back to each other. And yeah, everybody wants that, right? And I think that that's something we were kind of talking about relationships before. I don't know that we all need our partners in life to be that for us. Like, do they bring other things? Yes, but it's nice to have all of these little soulmate connections, you know, with friends and with and things like that, and get those things in different places too, you know.
Completely agree.
Definitely you can't rely all on one person for one thing.
I haven't done my husband. You absolutely can't.
I don't know how, Jay. How have you not
yeah
looked
how
him
have
up
you not?
Fear.
What time was he born?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. What is wrong with you?
I'm definitely, after this call, it's going to be the first thing I do. I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
But I'm suspecting, I'm going to put my money on now, projector. I'm going to come back to you on this and I'll let you know.
Okay.
But from what we've explained, that's what I'm feeling.
I think a projector husband would be really cool in that. Sorry, my generator husband, I love you. But you know, the Kardashians are all generators, and they usually marry projectors. What's Courtney is now with that drummer that's
Travis,
what's his name?
Travis Barker,
Travis
yeah.
Barker.
Okay.
He's a projector. And when you see him, a projector zeroes in and can like see to the depths of you. Like, they're really good at like seeing you and connecting. And you can see it when he connects to her. She's like, whoa, I am seen. I am, you know, like, and she's got all this generator energy, and he can kind of help guide that. And then he has a really strong G center, and she's open. And so you can see that she's kind of taken on his like gothic look and all of that.
Yes.
And it's not because she's like following or whatever. It just feels really good for her, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's in this spot with this person. It feels really good to try on this kind of style and this, you know, I don't know,
way of being. Yeah, totally.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
Like, even thinking about them as like just a family, a group of people being, so they're generators. I'm just thinking about the work ethic.
I think that Chris is a projector.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris is a projector. I don't know how she does it, but she guides them all, right? All of these women.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because I was wondering about them. I was like, how did they become so successful at business? You know, apart from the obvious things, how, like, what is it about them that has made them these like business icons of the last like 15 years in the most crazy way? That's so interesting.
Yeah. Yes. I haven't looked at, I would love to look at Chris's chart, but I think somebody had said that she's a projector, and it made perfect sense to me that she's always kind of guiding their, you know, business decisions. They all need her so much. They're always like, oh, what's mom say? You know, and she's just like this guidepost for their energy to make sure that they're using it in the most efficient way. And I can geek out on human design all the time. I love looking up people that you can like really see. Like Taylor Swift is a projector, and she's got this open throat, and she can kind of take in all of the emotions and sing it out, and you know, and she's got all of this.
really interested in our Britain's beloved Harry and Meghan.
Oh,
do you know anything about those two?
I don't, but I will have to look that up. Do you have any guesses?
I think Meghan's a manifestor.
So I don't know a ton of people, but Jennifer Aniston is a manifestor.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I can see it. She's like the sweetest person, but she's very much boom. Like, you can see when she directs her energy, you know?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I see that. I completely see that.
I see that too. I reckon Harry, let's think about this. I reckon Harry, I don't know, maybe a projector. What do you think?
I don't know. I kind of want to Google this now. I want to know.
I'm Googling right now. I don't know if it'll
What is
like
Prince
it depends on
Harry's?
if somebody's
Someone has to have
done.
done it.
Okay. They're saying he is a manifesting generator with a split.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, he's got my wave. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I have the 35, 36, which is the outside wave. It's a collective wave.
Okay.
And it's all about, so the if it was the 1648, the left wave, that is that skills, like
Yeah.
logic. Like I'm going to learn this over and over and over. I'm going to learn these skills. And the other side is all about wisdom. So you jump into all of these experiences to gain the wisdom. If you have any expectation, it turns into crisis because you're like, oh, that did not turn out.
Yeah.
But it turns into wisdom because you've tried it. And so I jumped in, joined the military on a whim. I've jumped into so many things because I had to have the experience,
Yeah.
right? And so I could see that. I mean, he's done a lot of different things, hasn't he? Like
he actually has
jumped into these experiences, and I'm sure that they didn't always work out, and it could have been really hard for him. But now that he's at this certain age, I'm sure that he's getting the wisdom from these. I don't know if anybody's done Megan. I've done Harry. I'll have to look.
It'd be really fascinating to see their charts and what they look like together.
I'm gonna be looking up so many famous people now, Angie, and I'm calling you like, did you know this about so?
Yes. No, and I'm literally half the time teaching people human design to be selfish because I just want to talk about it all the time. And if people don't understand what I'm saying, they look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, can't we just talk about
it? I think it gives so much insight into like how you can conduct relationships, knowing that someone is a certain type of way. So then you're not trying to spend your time trying to change someone to be a certain type of way. You can just understand what they've come here to do, what they've come here to learn, what they've come here to put out in the world, and you can like respect that from a healthy place.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really poignant for me.
I'm gonna give an example, and hopefully my sister doesn't kill me. I love you, Tiffany. So my older sister, we were just having this conversation, and I've told her, but she didn't really understand human design. And now that I've talked to her so much, she really is understanding it. And she has this split, this very emotional. She's so sensitive to other people, sensitive herself, but she also has this channel that goes straight to the throat and just is in the now, right? Just so in the now. And so she'll just talk about every single thing that she's thinking, blah, 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 and you're like, what in the world? She just, everything she thinks just comes out, just straight out, no filter, no nothing.
Yeah.
And I would just, and so we had this really great conversation because I was like, you're really good when you tap into that like sensitivity, you know what's going on. But when you tap into only that line, it's like you're almost deaf to everything else, and you're just in your experience. And it was like she got it and I got it at the exact same time. Like, whoa, these are split. They aren't talking to each other. I have to be cognizant about, am I really, tapping into what these people are feeling or what's going on? Or am I just in the now and the experience and, like not paying attention? And it was like the best moment, like, whoa, I understand you better and you understand yourself better. And we understand,
Yeah.
It was just really good. I think everybody should be able to know, like their partners and their children and their families chart like to the best.
For sure.
Their friends.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's
we were talking about earlier today, Nicola having a dossier on everyone she knows. She has like charts, graphs explaining
I've said this before.
All of her closest people.
Look, I've said this before and I will say it again. Every person whose chart I have has said at some point in their life, they've said yes, that I'm allowed to do it. Okay, whether or not they're still okay with it, that doesn't.
I just love that every time we talk about this, you have to express.
I'm just letting you know I have permission.
Like they've given me consent, guys.
No, I love it. I'll see somebody, like I saw Anderson Cooper post on Facebook or something, like my birthday at whatever time. I went and got his chart. Like I'm not. My mother-in-law, she was like, "Oh, it's not my birthday till this time." I went and grabbed her
Oh
chart.
God.
That's a good chart to
We've
have.
got two sides of the coin here.
I know.
I know, and I won't tell them about themselves, and I won't, but it's good to know, right? Like I can see where she's coming on things, and I can see, it's just it's good for me to know as long as I use it in the right way. I did tell her, but
As long as
I think I'm going to start doing everyone's chart now.
Jay, you really should, babe. As long as you use it for good, not evil, and it is just so that you can, like we've had so many moments of, oh my God, that is crazy. Like having both of our charts done by Angie, it's been so enlightening, so amazing. Even just the little moments where we're different, like we in our chart, you will have to tell me the gates again, Angie, but like the bit where she has the flow and I have like the need to make it routinous, and understanding that about each other.
Look,
it's so important, I think.
Yes. Look, if you're a 15 with just a 15 hanging, you are so flowing that it's really hard for routine. And if you're a 5 with just the 5, if it's a hanging gate, there's more emphasis, right? And so you just got that 5, like routine makes you safe almost. That's what I try to tell people. Like routine is safety almost. Like I need this routine to feel safe, feel good. And not everybody that has the 5 does a routine, but they feel good when they do.
That's me.
But the 15, like it's like literally putting me in handcuffs. Like I have to make my kids' lunches every day now that I quit my job. My husband used to do that because I had to be to work first so I could get home with them. Now he's like, well, you're not working, so I do it, and it's literally the worst part of my day. I hate getting out of bed because I know I have to do the same thing over and over and over again. I have to make their lunch, and they pretty much eat the same thing, and I can't do it the same way. I grab the jars different timing. I wash the vegetables at a different. I have to do it differently every single time. But it's still a routine that drives me crazy. And that's like in the health world, I always was trying to find like, what's the routine? What's the thing? What can I do? And I'd try it for 2 days and I'd be bored. And it's like,
so you need to mix it up. Is it with that gate? It's sort of emphasis on, if you're trying to put in routine, it's definitely going to be an uphill struggle, and you should just embrace that things are going to be a little different each day and work around that.
And my dad is a generator, and he is very routine in some ways. He goes to work, he loves to work, right? He likes to eat the same things because he's got a consecutive diet. So he likes to eat the same things over and over again, but he's a flow person. And I'll call him to see if he can watch my kids, and he will not even confirm. He's like, we'll see how it goes. And I'm like, can you just confirm this one thing? And he'll be there, but he just hates to tie himself down, right?
Oh, that makes me so uncomfortable.
I get that.
And for a 5,
my husband has a way of doing everything has a method, and she's like, if you just do it this way, if you just follow these steps, and I'm very much like, steps.
My husband makes his espresso exactly the same way every day. He won't even let me touch it. I make mine different every time, and it's not, I use the same ingredients. I just kind of like, I eyeball it, and I like, sometimes I'll put my collagen first, and sometimes I'll put...
well, the cooking in the kitchen, he's like, why aren't you using measures? Or it's like, why would I use measures? The food comes out perfect each time. Like, measures.
You're flowing.
I'm gonna say that, okay, I don't measure anything, all right? That's the play, that's a Jamaican thing. But like this conversation from you two,
very much.
This conversation from you two is making me super uncomfortable. I'm like, please, just put the coffee in the same way, please. There's no need to change that. There's an order to these things, and it makes it easier if we just all know
to the wall.
No, and that's what my best friend has, the 5, and she does. She's like, she's always like, oh my gosh, I just perfected this, and trying to give me the recipe, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna do it. I like hearing about it, but I'm not gonna do it.
I like hearing about routine. I like looking at people's routines, or something will pop up on socials and someone's like giving their routine. I'm like, that sounds fabulous. for you.
Do you have a routine, Nikki? Do you have like a really good routine
Well,
that you like to do? Like
we spoke a little bit
routine?
about this when you did my reading. Where actually I do have a routine. Actually, I do have one. It isn't the routine I want to have. Like I have, you know, a whole timetable that I repeatedly like kind of rewrite and make better and never really fully do. But it makes me feel, you're right, it does make me feel comfortable. It makes me feel safe. It makes me think about my doggy because he needs
Yeah.
the routine is important. And
Yeah.
sometimes I look at my life and I think, oh, I'm not routinous at all. And then I go, actually, you are, because the things that are actually your routine are habits. So I'm very habitual. So like I just need to know where everything is going to be, what I'm going to be doing, even in a sense of adventure. So I would have thought of myself as like a go with the flow person. I'm kind of cool. I like to do different things and adventure, but there has to be an aspect of organization within that. You're right. There has to be an aspect of like the thing is decided and it isn't just completely open-ended. But yeah, I have quite a strict routine with the way I make my coffee. So when you said that, I was very upset, Angie, I have to admit. Like my coffee has to be specific. Like the where I walk my dog, like just those kind of things, those kind of cornerstones of my day are the same pretty much every day. Sometimes though they do drive me mad, I have to admit. I don't like things to always be the same.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And that's where you have some room to like reorganize that routine, but it's still, you do have habits. And I'm actually a little bit jealous sometimes. My son has the 15-5 and he's the whole channel and he really likes a routine. And I'm terrible. My best friend, she's a quad left. So if you imagine those arrows, they're all facing left. So they're all focused and they're all specific. And then she has the 5. And so she's very routine. And so with her daughter, I mean, she has 2 kids now. It's literally, I'll go there and I'm just like blown away. They have the exact same routine every single night. Like they eat, they do this, they all go up and shower. She, showers exact same way. The daughter showers it, like it is so, it goes exactly the same way every single day. And her daughter has that 5:15 and loves routine, right? And she is good at making routines. And my son has this, and I'm the worst. Like, I never put him to bed at the same time. I can't follow a routine to save my life. And he struggled like until he was like 2 or 3. He was a really kind of difficult kid. And I'm thinking, he did not know what was going on. He's like, I like a routine, and now you're doing it this way. And I was working shift work, so sometimes I'd be home with him during the day, and sometimes he'd be at daycare, and sometimes I'd be sleeping on the couch because I worked all night and now I'm with him. But it was different every day. And it's
That's so crazy, because it now makes me think maybe my mum, I wonder what my mum's chart is, because she always struggled to give us like a proper bedtime and a proper, things kind of happened when they happened. And yeah, that's something that now I really like. I need to know what time. I don't go to bed at bedtime, but I need to know what time bedtime is. I'm gonna do her chart as well.
Yeah. It's fascinating. It just really, when it really makes sense and you can allow people to be who they are. And I think that's all anybody wants. They want to be seen for who they are. They want to be able to be who they are. And that's like my mission in life right now. I'm evolving on purpose, so it might evolve, but my mission on earth right now is to really help people to see themselves so they can fully show up as themselves, but also see the people in their lives, because it really, like, I've never loved my family so much. I just did my dad's chart last week and I didn't understand him at all. I have a lot of different similar things that I felt like I connected him on with him on, but I didn't understand him at all. And now I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have known this, because, I thought he was being kind of a jerk when he'd sit there and lecture us or whatever, but he's the cross of prevention. Like, he was just trying to prevent things from happening that he could see,
Yeah. Oh, so much healing can be done with this. It's like, because obviously in our podcast you were speaking a bit about it being shadow work, and like what you can work with it. And I just feel like that's, you know, how we relate to people is basically how we get on in the world, right? So just to have that,
Totally.
you know,
Yeah.
that other depth of understanding, I think is like, yeah, super important. Gosh, I there's so many people I need charts from now.
Yeah.
So many people.
Just call Nikki. We'll have like chart, like, let's just do
Okay.
this. I want to know
Yeah.
everything about this person. I love it. I really love it. Like, I'll trade you anything you want, and you're gonna help me edit my
Babes.
podcast.
All right, it's happening.
I know. It's so wonderful. Okay, I think we could really talk forever. Let's see if there's anything else we really wanted to clear. So where do you guys, so I know Jay, and this is what I think everybody needs to hold Jay accountable. She's quitting her job.
Mhm.
She's gonna really follow her design, and we're gonna see it, like, all of this creative magic come out of Jay.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to follow her. I can't wait to see. And Nikki is going to be the initiating queen and step into this, like, I am powerful. I am here to initiate. She's gonna get out of the head and like
Yes. Yes.
all of that and really like show up. So I can't wait to see. So what are you both envisioning for, the podcast? You've got the Afro Animist
Yes.
podcast, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So what are we envisioning for it?
And what do you envision come?
Well,
Yeah.
we had some pretty strong goals, didn't we, Jay? And then we did the Magical Women's Conference and changed all of those goals. So we're actually right now in a process of like reimagining and transformation of our platform. So
Yeah.
I feel like what we love to do with our podcast is we discuss the spiritual, but we feel like everything in life is spiritual. Like there's no different. And I guess that's the meaning of animism is a belief that everything is God, so the plants, the water, the air.
Yeah.
So I feel like for us, what we really want to do is just kind of create community and space where like minds can come together and actually have these conversations in like a really interesting and fun way, not this kind of serious, like, okay, we're just going to be very serious and very spiritual and it's all gonna be perfect. We just want to kind of open up the space so that people feel like they are able to find the places in life that they want to enhance and the practices that they need to do that, whatever they may look like. We are over 2023 going to be opening an online shop, and we're going to be offering doing some things online and in person. So we'll be offering like journeying work, so that's a shamanic practice, kind of like a meditation. It actually, you'd probably love it, Angie. Having done hypnotism and all those kinds of things, because it's very similar in that way. It's a way of going into the mind and kind of reworking things to create transformation. So we'll be doing some of that next year as well. Anything else you want to add, Jay?
I think there's going to be an immediate big focus on us on journey work. I do want to like emphasize that a lot within both of the paths that we've engaged in our lifetimes. It's really fitting. It really just comes from our hearts, and just the feedback we've had from the Magical Women's Conference. It was really just so phenomenal, being filled up by people saying, hey, that is something that we've experienced from you and we'd love to see more of that. That's something that we've in the past probably done for ourselves, but now we're sort of getting the confidence to step out and do more of that with other people. Journey is so transformational, honestly. And yeah, we want our podcast to be out there far and wide. We want people from all walks of life to be able to hear what we're talking about, and make their own minds up on it from there. That's really important. We just want to drop seeds and then have people take those seeds away and nurture them and research on them.
Yeah. No, and I love it because I'm here in Iowa in the United States, and like, small town, and I saw Nicola and I had talked and decided that we were going to do the reading, and I kind of looked at her on Facebook and looked at the podcast, and I was a little bit like overwhelmed, like, whew, I don't know, these are big words. These are big, like what is this? And then I just started listening to the podcast, and both of you, when I met both of you, it was like, oh my gosh, I just felt so good and connected, and felt your energy, both your energy is just so, positive and enveloping and wonderful. And so I just want, even if it sounds like something you wouldn't connect to from the mind, like, please listen to these women talk, because they're so really down to earth, taking these down to earth, these quantum physics and the magic and these things, but living life in the world. And London's a busy city, right? It's got a lot, like, you're just living it, and I just
Thank you
love
so
that.
much for that, because that's really what we aim to do. We're not trying to set up an occult school for occult girls and hiding away from this isn't Harry Potter. We're looking to actually be that bridge between these sort of like higher conversations of spirituality and the more earthly conversations of what it means to be a human, what it means to live the human experience, because that's all that we're doing as individuals on this earth, right? Finding our own way of adjusting to the human experience, because it can be rough. The human experience can be really rough at times, can be really, really just joyful at points, but it's about understanding how to move through that in our own individual paths. And if we can just give one person different ways of approaching existence, then we're happy.
Yeah, exactly. And we do have like a big emphasis on like actually being present in like the world that we live in right now. So even though it is, like Jay said, it's spiritual, we we just see everything in life as that, and somebody could come and speak to us and we could have the exact same conversation and not mention that word at all, and we'd all get it. So sometimes these words can be really scary, and we are really aware of that as well. We don't love to label ourselves as things, but unfortunately in this world you kind of need to have a bit of a ticket so people who know kind of what they're getting with you. But for us, this is just real life. Like we can talk about how to pray or journey, and we can also, we know who the Kardashians are, so it's like come listen if you want to like just have like real life conversations with an edge of like humor, not with everything we take with a pinch of salt, but there is so much more to the world, to life, than meets the eye, and I think that's what we find like so interesting to talk about more. Which is why it's been amazing to talk to you. You have blown our minds, Angie, like absolutely blown our minds. This is such an
really
important
have just opened doors for us to go digging down holes into this. This is so important.
Exactly.
I love that. It makes me feel like I'm in the right place too, that I got to, because that's what I've been calling in. It's like I'm a generator, so I am not going out there and finding these soul connections. I am magnetizing them to me, and that's what I've been asking for. And so meeting both of you is really like filled my soul up, because this is they say, like, if you won the lottery, what would you do? That's your soul calling, right? Like, if you had all the money in the world, this is literally what I would do. Like, I could win the lottery tomorrow, God, and I'll still do the same thing. So bring it on. It's not a big I will still be doing this, right? Like, this, I found like that thing that is who I am. It's who I came here to be, and I love connecting with you both, because whenever you connect with somebody that's so present and so spiritually aware and seen, like, you light me up to know that I'm in the right place, and that doing the right thing because you're connecting there and reflecting that back. And I love that so much.
Oh, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Angie.
Lovely.
Seriously.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. That was such a fun conversation to have with them. I hope that you go and check out everything that the Afro Animist podcast has to offer. And as always, keep evolving on purpose.